So today I'm going to have a little bit of a talk about obsession over progression that leads to regression. I'd love a penny for every athlete I've spoken to over the years who finds themselves in a training rut with plateaued training and race progression. Some of the problem lies with looking at our athletic goals and getting the pace of the goals mixed up with where we're at right now. We kind of have this tendency to project and to fix ourselves on the desired outcome, not on the reality of where we are right now. So often projecting to the pace that we want to hold in an ideal, perfect world scenario tempts us into trying to hold too close to that pace in training, pushing and testing to see if we can match the height of the bar that we set for ourselves. So we keep pushing, but for some unknown reason, we just don't understand why we're not getting any closer to that bar in training. And then, of course, we get plagued with niggling injuries, sicknesses, and, athletes often start to second guess their ability, and we get trapped in a no man's land of self-doubt and confusion because we're locked in this plateau that we've subconsciously put ourselves into. So this doesn't mean that for a second I'm not advocating hard work, because of course I'm a coach and I advocate hard work. That's the nature of the beast. But the harder you work, the luckier you get. But you've got to be conscious of what the work actually means. So what does the word hard actually mean? I mean, many athletes have, seen too many motivational movies and built their whole preps around pure fantasy. And when we're punching out high weekly volumes to Rocky music or The Eye of the Tiger, it starts to get old in your head pretty quickly, because we get fatigued, we get, that cotton wool feeling in our brain, and we get apathetic and lose motivation, and of course then we're in trouble. And the bottom line is you can only fool yourself for so long, or can you? So here's a few pointers from my experiences as a coach and as a former athlete and a keen observer of the human condition. What you are after is one simple thing: excellence. And excellence is the lucky child of well brought up 5 parents called belief, patience, resilience, consistency, and sustainability. They're the 5 that you need to think about. So what does belief actually mean? So if you're going to believe in something, you need to be able to see it play out in your mind's eye, right? Like, for it to play out in your mind's eye, you need to have a viable pathway. Otherwise, it's an illusion. You don't have a connect between what you're after and the reality. And fantasy is great motivation on day one, but it's not great for the actualization of your goals, right? So your plan needs to be realistic and achievable. And if you think you're going to put it all together without the work, you're in fantasy land already. Map it out realistically. Then when you visualize it, we need to believe in it. And to believe in it, it needs to be realistic. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? So the next component of it is patience. And the athletic arena is built on the corpses of those who rush the brass ring. And I've always used that word, the brass ring, because people get a big surge in performance and then they rush the brass ring and feel like they can get the rest of it. But it doesn't work like that. So patience is king. If you, like many others that have come before you, believe somehow that you'll be taking a shortcut to success with a rushed approach, you'll find patience waiting for you when you get back from fantasy land. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And so many people do this. And when they get back from fantasy land, they come looking, or they come talking to me and say, why am I in this plateau? And that's the reason why. So the next part of it is resilience. So the bottom line is success, personal success, any kind of success, is a path made of obstacles. It's the obstacles that count. It's what you learn from them. It's the resilience molded from the furnace of not wanting to repeat the past or allowing the past to affect the future, or the present for that matter. So the only way you can do that is to allow each mistake, each setback to integrate into a more evolved athlete. And through taking the time to look at what goes wrong and why it went wrong, and then applying it to what you learned here and now, you're keeping your head out of the past. So you're in the future and you're moving forward. You're not regressing. So that's a really important step. The next part of the 5 is consistency. So sometimes less is more if it is consistent. If you want to be able to realistically predict your performances, then consistency is critical. It is the king. What you practice consistently will be automatically coming up on race day. It'll be bubbling up through the performance. So you need to think hard about what it is that you want to be automatic. It's not complicated. What do you think will be automatic on race day if you are inconsistent in both frequency and application? When we talk about consistency, we need to be talking about more than just the physical aspects. We're talking about emotional and psychological stability, because they're the basic bedrocks of great athletes. Consistency means you're consistent with the whole athlete focus. Being physically consistent while losing your shit mentally in training is not the definition of consistency. So if you're all over the shop mentally in training, well, that's what's going to appear on race day. That's what's going to bubble up through the performance. So the next tenet is sustainability. Keep the solid work you do as prescribed, but keep the form of it sustainable. If you move out and above that which is unsustainable, and you're losing form and you're losing function and efficiency and going above pace too far, then you're not really programming yourself for excellence anymore. You've gone beyond the realm of ego, fighter, and illusion, with the eye of the tiger music playing in the background for effect, but it's not giving you what you need. It's not anchored in the realm of reality. So the function and pace that you hold on race day is the sum parts of the work that you did in training that was realistic, physically, psychologically, and metaphorically. Realistic is the critical practice of reality. Realistic is the important distinction between pace and function. If you're working yourself into the twilight zone of too fast, too sloppy, then you're operating outside the realm of functionality. And that functionality always occurs in the present moment. It doesn't occur anywhere else. You can't attach to it in the past or in the future. It's right here now. It's available. You might as well grab hold of it. And, you know, if you've moved into fantasy zone where function is a concept, then that's not reality either. So how does fantasy pace become a reality? It becomes reality with progressive, incremental improvements of form and function against realistic pace in this moment, right here, right now, again and again in this reoccurring now, over a period of extended time with focus in the present moment based on form and realistic pace. What does that give you? That gives you a future. So as opposed to the pace you fantasize that you want in 3 months' time, dragging yourself to that projected future pace right now will do nothing other than teach your physicality and your psyche how to frag out and flame it. So the future can be an illusion that can get you lost in the present if you are not aware of its dangers. So my point here is, once you get caught in that revolving door of push and blow, push and pull, failure becomes your second nature, because you're pushing too far out of the boundary of the future that basically, virtually, essentially isn't here yet. And because you keep blowing out, the mind keeps telling you to push even harder. It's a vicious circuit and a road to nowhere that can keep you a prisoner for years if you're not awake to it. So the attachment to the goal often strangles the life out of the possibility of it. You always need to apply awareness and feel to the realm of pace and function and reality and sustainability and efficiency and consistency. And I always like to use the dinner table as a metaphor for each session. I need to be able to leave the table knowing that I could have eaten more than I did. In that metaphor lies the promise of reality and your athletic dreams. So get after it.